Hi, algebra class. It's Friday, November 10th. This is the notes for writing equations of lines in slope-intercept form. Just a suggestion, you should probably take notes while you're watching the video, and you can watch this video multiple times if you need to as you're doing your homework too. There are three types of problems that you are going to learn how to write. The first one is if I give you the slope and y-intercept, you have to write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. This one's the easiest one. So if I told you that m is 2/3 and b is 4, all you have to do is plug those into the problem, and the answer is, if 2/3 is m and 4 is b, the answer is y equals 2/3 x plus 4. Now, you took a quiz yesterday where you actually would graph that next. We're not graphing now, all we're doing is writing the equations of lines. So the first kind of problem is I just give you the slope and I give you the y-intercept and you plug them in the formula. Easiest type of problem you're going to have. Okay, part 2, instead of me giving you the slope and the y-intercept, I'll give you a point on the line and a slope. So it's not going to be nearly as easy. You can't just plug in m and plug in b and be done. So my first example that I'm going to show you is m is 3/4 and the point that the line goes through is -3/9. And we again have to find the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. So the way we start these problems is we don't actually start with the slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. We actually start with the slope formula. M equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1, and we plug in what we know from the problem. So I know m is 3/4 because it tells me it is, so I'm going to put 3/4 in for m equals. Now what you have to remember is this is an x and this is a y, but I only have one of them. I don't have y sub 2 and y sub 1. So I don't know y sub 2, so I'm just going to leave that as y, minus y sub 1, we're going to make that the 9, so the 9 goes in my formula. On the bottom, I don't know x sub 2, so I'm going to make it x, and minus x sub 1 is -3, so I'm going to put -3. So right now I have 3/4 equals y minus 9 over x minus -3. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this statement here and we're going to transform it to look like y equals mx plus b. So the way we do that is, first of all, we're going to make this 3/4 equals y minus 9 over x plus 3. Now we have a proportion, so we're going to cross multiply, and since I want y on the left, I'm going to cross multiply the y direction first. So I'm going to have 4 times y minus 9 equals, and then I'm going to cross multiply the x direction, 3 times x plus 3. Okay, it's getting closer to looking like y equals mx plus b, so now I'm going to do the distributive property, and I'm going to write up here because I ran out of room. So I have 4y minus 36 equals 3x plus 9. And now I got to solve for y. So I'm going to add 36 to both sides. And I get 4y equals 3x plus 45. And again, I'm getting closer to y equals mx plus b, but I still have 4y. So I have to divide the entire thing by 4. And then my final answer, I'm actually going to write it up here by the formula, is 4y divided by 4 is y. 3x divided by 4 is 3/4 x. And then 45 divided by 4 doesn't actually simplify, so we're just going to leave it as 45/4. And that's my answer. So I took the information they gave me, m equals 3/4 and the point's -3/9. I put it in the slope formula, I cross multiplied, and I transformed the equation until I was in y equals mx plus b form. Okay, example 2. Okay, now this time I'm going to give you the point -2, 7, and the slope is 3. So just like in the last problem, I'm going to start with the slope formula, m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. I'm going to plug in what I know. This is my x, this is my y. So the slope is 3. I need to make it a fraction, so I'm going to make it 3 over 1. Always has to be a fraction. I don't know y sub 2, so I'm going to make it y minus y sub 1 is 7 over x sub 2, I don't know, and I'm going to make it x minus negative 2. Okay, so now again, remember we're trying to go to y equals mx plus b, so I have some maneuvering to do. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this 3 over 1 equals y minus 7 over x plus 2. I'm ready to cross multiply. Just like in the last problem, I'm going to do the y direction first. So 1 times y minus 7 equals, now you're going to go the other direction, 3 times x plus 2. I'm going to do the distributive property. I get 1y minus 7 equals 3x plus 6. Now I got to get it in y equals mx plus b form. So I'm going to add 7 to both sides. I get 1y equals 3x plus 13. And this time I just need to divide by 1, which that doesn't change anything. So my final answer is y equals 3 divided by 1 is 3, so 3x. 13 divided by 1 is plus 13, so my answer is y equals 3x plus 13. Okay, type 3, which I call the one that you have to show the most work, is instead of giving you a point and a slope, or giving you a slope and a point, or a slope and a y-intercept like part 1, I give you 2 points, so you have nowhere to really start. So my first example is negative 314 and 9, negative 2. So my line goes through those 2 points. I want to find out what's the equation of that line. Okay? So the first thing you have to do on part 3 type problems is we have to actually find the slope of the line. So we're going to use our slope formula, y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. When I plug in my numbers that I know, I have m equals negative 2 minus 14 over 9 minus negative 3. So I know the slope of my line is going to be negative 16 over 12, which I want to reduce that to negative 4/3. So I know the slope is negative 4/3. So I know m, but I don't know what b is. Now, the next step is I'm going to use one of the 2 points that they gave me, and it doesn't matter which one you use. You can use the negative 314 or you can use the 9, negative 2. It's totally up to you. You just can't use a combination of the 2 points. So I'm going to use the point negative 314, and I'm going to use the slope that I just found, and it's going to be just like the types of problems we just did. So here we go. So we just found out the slope was negative 4/3. And the point that I'm using is negative 9, 2. Oops, sorry, no, I'm actually using the point negative 314. I looked at the slide wrong. So I'm going to again use my slope formula. So m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. I already know the slope, so negative 4/3. This is x, this is y. So y minus 14 and x minus negative 3, I'm going to make that a plus 3. Okay, I'm ready to cross multiply. Again, I'm going to cross multiply the y direction first. So I have 3 times the quantity y minus 14. And that equals, now I'm going to go the other direction, negative 4 times x plus 3. I'm ready to do the distributive property. So I get 3y minus 42 equals negative 4x minus 12. Now I'm ready to solve for y, so I'm going to add 42 to both sides. And I get 3y equals negative 4x plus 30. I'm going to divide everything by 3. And my final answer in slope-intercept form is y, because 3y divided by 3 is y. And then it's negative 4/3 x. And 30 divided by 3 is 10, so plus 10. And that's my answer. Okay, one more example. Alright, so here are my 2 points my line goes through. And again, I'm not done until I have an answer in y equals mx plus b form. So I'm going to start with step 1 is find the slope of the line. So I'm not even going to write down the slope formula because I know it. So I'm going to put negative 2 minus negative 6. And I'm going to put 13 minus 8. So I know my slope is 4/5. Okay, make sure you're careful with your integers. Okay, now again, I can use either one of the 2 points that were given to me at the beginning. I'm just a creature of habit, and I always use the first one. So now, again, we're going to use the slope formula. M equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. I'm going to use this point, and here's my slope. So I have 4/5 equals y minus negative 6, so plus 6 over x minus 8. I'm ready to cross multiply, and again, I'm going to cross multiply the y direction first so that my y is where I want it to be. So 5 times y plus 6 equals, go the other direction, 4 times x minus 8. Do the distributive properties, and I get 5y plus 30 equals 4x minus 32. Alright, I'm ready to solve for y. I subtract 30 from both sides. I get 5y equals 4x minus 62. Divide the whole thing by 5. And I get y equals 4/5 x. And then 62 over 5 doesn't reduce, so I just make it minus 62 over 5. And that's my final answer. Okay, so I've done several examples of all 3 types of problems. What you're going to do now is you're going to do the worksheet that the substitute gave you over the weekend for homework. There's a couple of each type of problem, and you need to make sure those are due on Monday. Have a good weekend, and I will see you Monday.